Good morning. Welcome back to your Google Classroom. Yesterday, I have sent to you the poem that we have to study today. That is Tagore's Breezy April. And again, I have attached the summary of the poem along with it. Hope that you have gone through the same. And today, we will be discussing Breezy April. And Breezy April is the second poem in your collection from section 1. And so, remember, this is a nature poem, a very small, very interesting poem. And before we go into the details of Breezy April, let me introduce to you the author of this poem. And as you know, Rabindranath Tagore has written this poem. And Rabindranath Tagore, everybody is familiar with him. Every Indian is aware of him, of his great role during the freedom struggle. We all are aware of his greatness as a poet, as an educationalist, and so on. Yet, it is customary on our part to begin with the biographical details of the author. And so, Rabindranath Tagore, he was born in Calcutta, in a very influential aristocratic family. His father was Devendranath Tagore and mother Sharada Devi. There were 13 children in the family, and Rabindranath Tagore was the youngest. And even when he was a small child, he showed extraordinary intelligence and brilliance. Actually, he didn't have any formal education in the beginning. Private tutors were arranged. In those days, it was the pattern in well-to-do families. The children will be given coaching at home by private tutors. And so Rabindranath Tagore also was given coaching by private tutors. And he was very good in studies. From the age of 8 onwards, he started writing poems. And at the age of 17, he had published the first collection of poems. And so that is Rabindranath Tagore. Actually, he went to study law in London. But he didn't like the climate there, and so he returned. And then after that, he concentrated on his writings. It should be noted that Tagore was an all-rounder. He wrote plenty of poems. He is first and foremost a poet. But in addition to the poems, he wrote plenty of dramas, novels, short stories, and so on. And his dramas like Muktadara, Nadir Puja, Chantaliga, they all have become very, very famous. And it shows Tagore's great love and concern for the downtrodden of the society. Even though he was born in such a rich family, he was able to understand the difficulties of the people around him. Actually, he becomes a spokesman of the downtrodden, of the untouchables in the society. We are all aware of the caste system that was prevalent at the time of Tagore. You know, Tagore was born in 1861. Actually, it was the time when Britishers were ruling India. Actually, the Indians were suffering the atrocities of the British rule, and they were living like slaves in their own country, crouching with fear against the Englishman. And so that was the condition of the Indians at the time of Tagore. And Tagore, through his writings, he has proved that pen is mightier than the sword. And through his powerful writings, he instigated the average Indian, instilled in him self-respect, and thus they were made to fight against the foreigner. Earlier, they were afraid even to say a word against the Englishman, our poor ancestors. But Tagore gave them the courage to stand against the Englishman. And so, critics say that we have to attribute a role equal to that of Mahatma Gandhi to Tagore also in the freedom struggle. And then, again, coming back to his literary talents, I told you he was first and foremost a poet, even though he had written plenty of drama, short stories, novels, and so on. But he got the Nobel Prize in Literature for his collection of poems called Gitanjali. Gitanjali is the masterpiece poem. Actually, it is a collection of 105 small poems brought together. Tagore was a mystic, and Tagore himself says that this Gitanjali is like a garland having 105 beads, and this garland he offers to the Lord. And so this Gitanjali was greatly appreciated all over the world. Actually, the original version of all his poems, it is all in Bengali. But later, Tagore himself translated these poems into English. And then, at the age of 70, he attempted painting. And very soon he had proved his excellence as a painter also, that too at the age of 70. And then after that, again, in the meanwhile, he used to compose songs. It is said that he had composed more than 2,200 songs. And the eventful life of Tagore came to an end in 1941 at the age of 81. And so you are all familiar with Tagore. But these are important things that I am trying to remind you. Again, remember, he is the one who had penned our national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. You know that. And again, he was also, I forgot to mention something else, he was awarded knighthood. But later he had, actually in 1914 or so, he was awarded knighthood. It is a very prestigious award, but later he had returned it as a protest against the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And so, see, in nutshell, remember, dear students, Tagore was born in a highly influential aristocratic family in Calcutta as the son of Rabindranath Tagore and Sharada Devi. There were 13 children in the family. Even from a very young age of 8, he started writing poems. At the age of 17, he was able to have the first collection of poems published. And then he, in addition to poems, he had written short stories, novels, plays, and so on. And he got the Nobel Prize in Literature for his masterpiece work Gitanjali, which is a collection of 105 small poems clubbed together, put together. It is Tagore's offering to God. And then again, remember his role in the freedom struggle. Through his powerful writings, he had proved that pen is mightier than the sword. And such a great role he had in the freedom struggle. He was greatly appreciated by Mahatma Gandhi also. And again, remember, he was a great educationalist. Even now, his educational theories are very relevant. And it can even be said that nobody is able to have a better theory than that is propounded by Tagore. And see, he had his ideas in his educational institutions like Sriniketan, Shantiniketan. And Vishwabharati University also was founded by Rabindranath Tagore. And again, he was a good painter. He composed more than 2,200 songs, and he died at the age of 81 in the year 1941. And so this is the life of Rabindranath Tagore. And Tagore had 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters. And his wife is Mrinalini Devi. Since the author is Tagore, it is worth knowing all these details. And now coming back to Breezy April, you have gone through the notes, I suppose. And remember, first of all, Breezy April. It is an ode, O-D-E, ode. What is the meaning of an ode? An addressive poem is called an ode. Ode is a poem that is addressing a person, place, or thing. And here, Tagore is addressing the month of April. And to be more precise, he is addressing the gentle breeze of the month of April. And here, Tagore celebrates the importance of the month of April. And we know that April is always counted to be the month of rebirth and rejuvenation. And remember, this poem establishes the great relationship between man and nature. Between man and nature, there should be a proper balancing. Man should respect nature and nature will respect back. And Tagore has such a great respect for nature because nature is protecting us. Again, here you will note the great influence of the romantic poets like Shelley, Keats, and Wordsworth on Tagore. Back to nature. This is the solution for the ills of the world. It is the panacea for the ills of the world, according to Wordsworth, Keats, Shelley, and for Tagore also. Return to nature, back to nature, respecting nature. This is the solution for the problems of the world. And that is why the poem is counted to be a romantic poem. And it is written in the strain of the romantic poets like Wordsworth. Like Wordsworth, Tagore also believes that nature is a mother, teacher, friend, philosopher, everything. If you don't respect nature, or when you disturb nature, nature will retort. That is, we know, we have examples in our own life. During these past 2 years, we have floods. This year also we expect a flood. Why? This is all man's cruelty towards nature. And in this context, we should understand the essence of this poem. And so it is an ode. It is addressed to the month of April. And again, Here the author Tagore, I see in the first stanza, he calls April vagrant April. Vagrant, wayward, a wanderer, one who is wandering about, in a very playful tone. Here in the beginning of the poem, you will notice that Tagore addresses April as his friend, and he says that April, vagrant April. That shows the great intimacy he had for the month of April. He talks to April as a friend. A conversational tone is established, thereby showing the great attachment between man and nature, Tagore and nature. And then again he says that he was sleeping, and from the sleep, from his slumber, he was awakened by the gentle breeze of April, of the month of April. And so, remember, April is the month that awakens us from our sleep. And we will be enjoying the beauty of nature. And then, in the second stanza, again Tagore says that the gentle breeze of the April season is highly rejuvenating, and it comes after the winter season. And Tagore says that this gentle breeze is going to heal the wounds created by the winter season. Our winter season had made its own wounds on us, but everything will be healed when the gentle breeze of April is flowing over us. And then he's making a prayer to the month of April, to the breeze of April. He says that, "O breezy April, let your gentle breeze flow through the branches of the trees, and the trees will blossom out. Whatever wounds the trees have received during the winter season, everything will be healed when the gentle breeze of April is flowing through its branches. And the branches will definitely blossom into flowers." And then again he talks about the leafy language. He says that when the gentle breeze moves through the leaves of the trees, the leaves will be moving slightly, and it will be making a whistling sound. And this murmuring sound is something which Tagore calls leafy language. He says that I can understand your leafy language. When the leaves are moving, it is murmuring, the wind is murmuring to the leaves and the trees. And thus the whole nature is rejuvenated by the breeze of April. Tagore has such a great fascination, appreciation for the month of April and the gentle breeze of April. I wish to mention the great authors or the attitude of the different authors towards the month of April. And we are all familiar with Geoffrey Chaucer and his prologue to the Canterbury Tales. And the prologue, the first line of the prologue begins with a reference to the sweet showers of the month of April. April with its sweet showers. That is what Chaucer says. Chaucer also believes in the great rejuvenating power of the month of April. And so, just for your understanding, see, like Tagore, Geoffrey Chaucer also had a great appreciation for the month of April. It was in the early 14th century or in the mid 13th century where people were innocent and they were very happy with the advent of the month of April. Because Chaucer says that it is the month of gentle showers. And during this month, even people are going for holidays and pilgrimages. But you should also note that T.S. Eliot, the great modern poet, he had written his masterpiece work, The Wasteland. The poem is excellent. It is the masterpiece work of Eliot. It talks about the post-war world, about the modern man in the post-war world. What has happened to the modern men in the post-war period? And here, in this poem by T.S. Eliot, the title is The Wasteland. He says that he begins the poem like this. April is the cruelest month. See, according to T.S. Eliot, April is the cruelest month. Why? See the change in the attitude of the people after two great wars. People all over the world, two world wars. After the two Great World War, people were frustrated, disappointed, dejected. And so they thought that April is the cruelest month. An author should reflect the age. But for Chaucer, April is the month with sweet showers. And for Tagore, we have seen that the gentle breeze of April has such a charm, such a curative effect on the people. It rejuvenates the entire nature. It is enchanting. It actually heals us of our wounds. And the whole nature is rejuvenated. It's a small poem. It is an ode, a poem addressed to the autumn season. And it is written in a conversational tone. See here, the great intimacy Tagore has towards nature is revealed here. I hope you have understood the poem. And we will stop for the time being. Thank you.